As technological innovations emerge, computer interfaces are becoming increasingly multimodal and more often incorporate natural language.
Archivus. Which meetings happened in April?
Relevant books are highlighted.
Sort the books by date.
Shelf was reorganized.
I take the one of April 21st.
You can browse or play the media.
However, to get a system where the interaction is as smooth as presented requires careful development and tuning of several modules, ideally based on interaction with real users. The most common way to gather this type of data is to use Wizard of Oz experiments. In these experiments, a user interacts with the system that they believe to be fully implemented, but which in fact has missing components. These components are simulated by a wizard, a human expert who controls the system from a remote location. While the Wizard of Oz methodology is most commonly used for voice-only systems, we have extended it to apply to Archivus, our multimodal interface. Archivus allows users to browse and search for information in a multimedia database containing recordings of meetings. The evaluation protocol that we have devised to gather data to develop and tune Archivus is as follows.
Hi, welcome to the evaluation. This will happen in 4 parts. First, you need to sign a consent form, which explains the confidentiality of the data that we record, and a demographic questionnaire. Then you will also do a tutorial, which explains step-by-step how to use the system. And here you can use several modalities. So you see here you have mouse, you have keyboard, you can use the touchscreen, and you can also use your voice, for which you get this microphone. The tutorial will take around 20 minutes, and after that there will be 2 evaluation sessions, each lasting 20 minutes. And finally, there will be a post-evaluation questionnaire for you to fill out.
Different users are given different modality combinations in the first part of the evaluation. The tutorial that they go through teaches them how to use only those modalities that will be available. The tutorials were written to be as modality balanced as possible to maximally reduce biasing the user. In the second part of the evaluation, the user is given access to all of the possible input modalities for the system. They can use whichever ones they feel most comfortable with. A second brief tutorial is given in cases where the users were not shown how to use voice in combination with other modalities during the first part of the evaluation. Once the user has filled out the forms and done the tutorial, the experimenter explains how the rest of the evaluation will proceed.
In the evaluation, you will try to find answers to the questions on these cards using the Archivus system. As you can see here, you have both true-false questions and short answer questions. When you finish a question, you take this pen and you mark the answer directly on the card. And then you put it in the box here, and you say task finished. If you don't find the answer, you can just skip it. You put it in the box anyway, and you select task finished. Now it's important to remember that we're not checking how many cards you managed to do during the session or how many you get right or wrong. We're more interested in how you use the system to find the answers. But still, it's important that you do the questions in the order that they're given, because that helps us to see afterwards, when we look at the data, what question you were working on.
Okay.
Here, we have a view of the user's room during one of our evaluations. The camera to the side of the user records which input devices they are using. The camera that is in front of the user records their reactions to the system and is streamed into the wizard's room to help them gauge the interaction situation. The equipment to the left of the user records what is happening on the user's screen combined with the information from their lapel microphone. Meanwhile, in the wizard's room, the wizard can see the user and their screen. They also have control over 2 aspects of the user's interface. The first is control over how user input is processed. This is handled by the input wizard, using the following interface. This interface, called the wizard's controller interface, allows them to have quick access to the key buttons on the user's screen and to choose semantic pairs which are used to retrieve data from the database. Once the input wizard has processed the input and the appropriate information to present to the user has been generated, control is passed to the output wizard. The output wizard controls which prompt is played by the system using an interface which lets them choose one of three options: a default prompt selected by the system, a prompt from a predefined list, or a prompt that they can generate on the fly. As a result of these Wizard of Oz evaluations, we have video data of what happened on the user's screen, what their reactions to the system were, and which input devices they were using at any given time. We also have log files that keep track of a variety of useful information. For instance, which modalities were used and when, for what purpose, and the corresponding reactions from both the system and the wizards. Finally, we have the results of the two questionnaires, the demographic information that they fill in at the beginning of the evaluation, and the post-evaluation questionnaire. This last questionnaire, which is done online, gathers the user's subjective opinions about various aspects of the system. All of this data, which takes considerable time and effort to produce, plays a crucial role in the development of multimodal interfaces such as Archivus. In particular, it is used to fuel research on several aspects of the system, including the language processing modules, the dialogue management strategies, and overall system usability.